Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Alumni Guidance Webinar.
Good morning, everyone. We'll start with an introduction about Univariety. Univariety, partnered with Sun City Sector 54, offers a comprehensive alumni management platform to enhance student and school success. Headquartered in Hyderabad with a pan-India presence, Univariety is backed by InfoEdge Private Limited, the technology-driven approach that leverages alumni to provide top-notch student guidance.
Now, without any further ado, let's hear from our esteemed alumni, starting with Harmeher Narula.
Hi, Abhinav. Sorry for interrupting. We have Rupa ma'am available, and she'll be giving the opening note, and then we can start with the introductions for the event of alumni.
So sorry for the slight, ma'am. Rupa ma'am, we would like to invite you to please kindly address the audience and the alumni for a welcome note. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much. It's always such a moment where the heart rules your head when you meet the children who have been in the portals of Sun City School Sector 54. This being our 20th year, it was most important for me to be here with the first session of Univariety, and especially the three children, Harmeher, Muskan, and of course my dear Miss Sinha. I cannot forget some of the chats we used to have together. And of course, there are so many more who have been there in the school, passed out as alumni. And we feel proud to welcome you back, to request you to address our students, because it's befitting to request you, because you have started climbing the steps of happiness, because you are doing what you want to do. And then I will say success, because before success comes happiness, even in the dictionary. So it is very important that you first be happy. I'm sorry I could not be present there to speak to you directly. I'm going for some ministry work to Shimla. But it is an absolutely enamoring moment for me to welcome you back to address the children. All of you have carried the sanskars forth, and I can see that in your vibe that you emanate, the way you talk, the way you interact, and it makes me so very proud, children, of each one of you. I always pray that you are able and noble, but I'm glad to see that the nobility in you shines through. I hope that you will come back to school, because we are planning the alumni meet in December. And Shoma ma'am, of course, is the boss in this matter, and she is going to take everything forth. Thank you very much for allowing me this interaction, and God bless each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, without further ado, let's hear from our first alumnus, Harmeher Narula, from the batch of 2021. Harmeher is an engineering graduate from Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, where she pursued electronics, instrumentation, and control. She currently works as an analyst at JP Morgan Chase & Co., blending her technical expertise with her passion for finance and data analytics. Through her internships and now her role, Harmeher has worked on data quality management, trade and working capital analytics, and process automation. She believes it's okay to start in one field and discover your true passion along the way. A mindset she hopes to share with students today.
Thank you so much. And firstly, I want to thank the school for giving me the opportunity to come up here and present my journey, and Team Univariety for organizing this lovely session. It's absolutely so great to see you all, especially Director Ma'am and all the teachers, even though if it's this tiny screen, and I really hope to see all of the teachers in person. Feels surreal to be a part of such a lovely session, and for the first time on this side of the table. So with that, can I just get a quick show of hands as to how many of you all have actually figured out what you want to do, and have planned that this is my call, this is the college I want to go to, this is the masters I want to pursue? Can I just see a quick show of hands? Okay, I can't see. But if you have raised your hand, then I envy you because I did not know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to get into engineering, but then I was kind of skeptical about what I wanted to do. So this is what I'm here to remind you about. Everybody would be reminding you right now that it's time to pull up your socks. And I do agree with them. It's a make or break situation, because this is what would mold you and would kind of set a foundation for you right now for the rest of your life. But what you would pursue, what I'm trying to say is that what you would want sometimes, that in your career you would want to get into a path that is not really in line with what you have pursued in terms of undergrad. And it's okay, that happens. And case in point, I'll just, like, as you saw, that I'm working in JP Morgan. I studied electronics and instrumentation, but now I've gone towards data and finance, right? So it's absolutely okay to do that. You just have to have the drive, you have to have the curiosity. That's the most important part. So I joined Sun City in 2010. I've pretty much completed my entire schooling from Sun City, made a ton of memories, and my parents liked the school so much that they even transferred my elder sister, who's now pursuing MD in pathology from Kasturba Medical College, to this school because they were so impressed. And I really tried my hands at everything in this school. I was a part of the basketball team for 3 to 4 years. We had 4 schools for that, and in 8th grade, I remember I had to go for tournaments. So I don't remember attending a single day of 8th grade because we had so many tournaments and everything. And it gave me an opportunity to have lunch with director ma'am as well. So really grateful for that. Then I was also a part of the MUN debate club, which was also, I made some of my best memories from that. And it also taught me how to put my point forward, but in a clean and in a democratic way. Then I was also a part of the student council. I was in the anti-bullying squad in 8th, and the art captain and the house captain. So I've tried my hands at everything until 11th, where I picked out science because I was always really fond of problem solving, logic. And so that's how I decided that this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. Then I got into Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, first specializing in electronics and instrumentation. Figured out halfway that, okay, this is not something that I want to really have a job in. I'm really drawn towards finance, tech, and that is what a culmination of that is what I want to work in. And I really worked in the sense that I pursued very, very different things during the summer. Like, I went beyond my curriculum. I had to, because in order to stand apart, stand out from all your other peers, you have to go not only above and beyond, but also like you have to gain expertise, knowledge about other things as well. So finance was not in my curriculum, but I did pick it up during summers. So that's what helped me crack an internship at JP Morgan, and then eventually a full-time offer. So for my internship, what I did was I worked in a team which was trade and working capital. And how many of you all know what supply chain finance program is? Okay, if you don't, I'll just make it very easy. So it's basically the bank acts as a mediator between, you have a buyer like Coca-Cola and you have a supplier, any local supplier of Coca-Cola. So a bank will act as a mediator. Now, what does the buyer want? Buyer wants to preserve its it wants to preserve its working capital. So it will try to extend its payment terms with the supplier. So the bank will offer the buyer its said payment terms, but it would also pay the supplier. So you have a win-win situation at both ends. So what we did in this was we made probability models of the supplier onboarding onto this supply chain finance program based on the buyer's credit rating. So it was one of the most amazing learning experiences. And actually the culture at JP Morgan is somewhat very similar to what you had at school as well. I mean, I'm really lucky to be a part of Sun City because it kind of already prepped me for what the culture is at JP Morgan. You have very helpful people. You have people from all cultures and everything. So that's great. I just wanted to end this by giving now. So excuse me, I'm so sorry, but now I've transitioned into a data management analyst role. So now what I'm doing is I'm working more with data. I'm bridging the gap between an impacted line of business and the tech. So if there are a lot of applications in JP Morgan. So if you understand what application means, it's basically systems where your trade risks and all your notionals and everything are logged. So basically, if impacted line of business is the one that is having problem with the applications, so they want to approach the tech. So we act as a mediator between the two, and we kind of mitigate the process of fixing that application. So yeah, so this is what I'm doing right now. I absolutely love it. I can't wait for more. I know I would eventually want to transition into something else also within the firm. So really excited for that. Yeah, so I just wanted to end this with a few career tips, which is first, stay curious. Like I said, go above and beyond your textbooks, try to challenge yourself as much as you can. And you are a part of the AI generation. So really make use of ChatGPT. Like try to learn for us, what we had to do was we had to type on Google, okay, what is this said terminology? And then we had to really scout through Google to find something that is, something that we can understand. But you have ChatGPT. You can leverage it, and you can really, challenge yourself with ChatGPT. I mean, just go crazy with it. The second thing that I wanted to highlight is don't be afraid to ask questions. I know this is something that you will hear really often, but you would be the one benefiting from the questions. And honestly, it's very important, because like what happens is that you ask that question, but you think that okay, someone is judging you, but nobody is judging you. Actually, people are really admired that you're actually having the guts to ask this. So if you approach people on LinkedIn, you're approaching 100 people on LinkedIn, 10 people will respond. If you're lucky, 10 will respond, but 5 would respond for sure. But that response is what would shape your career. It could shape your career basically. So this is what I would advise. And the last thing that I would advise is do wherever. So now that you're going to get into a college, and I all the best for that, but when you do, you have summer breaks, right? Keep pursuing something in that summer break. Do a course. Go out and pursue a course from an institute. So I picked up a business strategy and consulting course in Imperial College of Business in London, and I went for that, and it was honestly something that really put me out of my comfort zone, and I understood that okay, this is something I could make my career in as well. So, and in the last year I picked up finance. So just challenge yourself, just keep pushing, keep picking up internships, keep picking up courses. Yeah, and I think that's about it. And just like it's okay to not like have everything figured out, not have your dream college, not have your career path and everything. Eventually it will work out. Just push yourself, keep pushing yourself in life. That's how you will achieve greatness. So yeah, I think that's about it from my end. Thank you so much for this opportunity once again.
Thank you so much for your enlightening words.
Next, we have Shruti Sinha, also batch of 2021. Shruti is an IIT Kanpur graduate in Earth Sciences with a minor in space, planetary, and astrophysical science engineering. She was a Bhagwati Devi Maheshwari Gold Medalist, awarded to the best all-round graduating student across all programs. Shruti has worked with ISRO, NASA, PRL, ESA, and USGs, and has presented her research internationally. She also initiated the first Indian Sign Language course in any IIT to support inclusivity and accessibility in science. She is currently working at CAS 24 during the deferral period of a PhD in planetary science. Shruti, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Okay. Thank you for that very kind introduction. Hi everyone. I hope you're not sleepy. It's 11 in the morning. Could you please share my PPT? The Univariety
Yes.
team.
Yes.
So, I've found out that all the people here are 11th and 12th graders. That's definitely a very confusing part of your school life. You don't know what to do. You're trying to figure everything out. It's a very high pressure time in your life. And I was also very confused when I was in 11th and 12th grade. But somehow I didn't figure out that this is the right time to take pressure. And I basically wasted the entire 11th grade. And around 12th grade, I woke up and I was like, oh, wait, I need to do something with my life. I need to give an entrance exam. Maybe I should be preparing for that. So I hadn't taken any coaching, which of course I should have done in 11th grade. But somehow things worked out. Like, again, as Harmel said, we didn't have ChatGPT or AI back then, but there were some very good YouTube videos. And yeah, so somehow that worked out. I joined IIT Kanpur. Could you please move on to the next slide? So leaving Sun City was a very jarring experience. I joined in 2017 when I was in ninth grade, and it's a very protected environment. Like, yes, it does offer you a lot of opportunities, it shares a lot of things with you, but at the end of the day, you're still a school going child, and you have practically no real world experience. So I joined IIT Kanpur in 2021 in the Earth Sciences department. And on my first day in college, on my literal first day on campus, I developed rheumatoid arthritis. And I didn't know what to do with it. So I went to my college's disability cell and I found out that, oh, this actually doesn't count as a disability. So I will be getting no benefits off of this, but yeah, I can go back and take some medicines and stuff. But yeah, I started working at the disability cell from then on. That maybe if I don't get the benefits, other people can avail benefits for what counts as a disability. Because if I am going through so much pain, and this is it, and this doesn't even count, I couldn't imagine what would be happening to people who have issues that count as disabilities. So I started volunteering then, and side by side in my second year, I very fortunately had a class by Dr. Dhingra, who is the guy who invented the instrument that found water on the moon. I started working with him and began working on lunar impact cratering, numerical modeling, and some satellite imaging. And as this developed slowly, my interest in space sciences grew. And of course, I was already very interested in earth sciences. I really love natural disasters. That's why I joined this branch. So I wanted to do something in that too. So in my at the end of my second year, I started working in water quality. Uh, so what we did was we tried to put an algorithm into a satellite that, if flown over the river, could isolate pollutants there and figure out where exactly they came from. This is not a new concept, but this would definitely help with this process being done remotely instead of manual sampling. So it would be cheaper, it would be easier for village communities, communities in rural areas, remote areas, inaccessible areas. So this was definitely a thing. I think this is going to be put into an upcoming satellite in 2027. But yeah, I started working then and slowly started publishing my research. And as I kept publishing my research, uh, I found other areas to work for. So when you actually publish scientific research, you go to conferences, you meet other people who are doing the same thing that you do. You interact with them, you see what they're working on, then you end up collaborating with them. So I did some polarization research on Mars, uh, about the particles on the surface and how they interact with light, and what that can tell us about the substances there, the processes that happened there. And over time, my specialization really started coming down to numerical modeling and isolating the causes of landforms and geographical forms we see on planetary bodies across the solar system and beyond. Side by side, I was also working more with the disability cell. and I'd started working with disabled people throughout Kanpur. So there was, of course, the sign language is mentioned here, but we also used to conduct sports fests for them. If you've never seen a person with no legs play cricket, uh, it is possible and it does happen quite regularly. A fielder in a wheelchair is actually terrifyingly good. But yeah, so we used to make all of these programs, and then a deaf person came to me from my college, junior, and she said to me that, hey, I can't actually understand anything that goes on in any of the lectures I go to. Like the professor is there, if I'm sitting in the front bench, I can read their lips at max, but I actually have no understanding of what is going on in the class. So what she had started to do was she had started to open her phone and open speech to text and hope that only the professor's words come through. But people were talking around her. She couldn't basically grasp anything that was going on. So I talked to her professor about this, and the professor said, wait, what we can do is we can do real-time sign language mapping of what people are saying. We couldn't hire interpreters, of course, and professors were very, very skeptical about uploading their content onto the internet for students to access and maybe distribute. So we wanted to set up an algorithm that could make speech to sign language, Indian Sign Language. American Sign Language interpreters do exist, but Indian Sign Language, so far, nothing. And we also wanted something that could translate Indian Sign Language to text or to voice. But to start that, nobody in the institute knew Indian Sign Language. So a lot of us came together. I contacted this one deaf and vision school in Kanpur that we had previously worked on for, uh, again, the cricket thing, the sports fest for the disabled kids. And they very kindly agreed to come and start a sign language program at IIT Kanpur. And that's how that started. And this is going to be the third time this course is being offered with much better uh, trained instructors, and our own students who are being trained in this are acting as sign language interpreters for disabled people who are giving exams. So of course there's a lot more along the way, but these are the salient points. And after all of this research, I did want to go forward with it. um, so I applied to PhDs across the board, and I've been accepted to the NASA mission for exoplanets uh, as an image analyst and a root cause analyst. And I'll be joining later due to the situation in the US right now. But in the deferral period, I'm working in Gurgaon at Cars 24, which is something I do enjoy. I love cars. But yeah, so that's what it's been so far. But I've learned a lot of things along the way, and I do want to share that. Could we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So the first is, of course, that your dreams are not too big. What are you, 15, 16, 17, right? At this point, you should be having ostentatious dreams, like absolutely unachievable, unthinkable. If you have a dream and you think it's possible, you're not dreaming big enough. It's okay. It's okay to have dreams that do not seem achievable, because every insane thing that you think you're doing is actually made up of very tiny, very achievable steps. And the second is you always have time. I did not even know that I knew I had a vague interest in space until the second half of 12th grade. I didn't even know I was going to do all of this. Most of this, I didn't even know I was going to do it until I was doing it. As Harmil said, you never really figure out what you want to do. You just have to do things and figure it out. And forget my example. The guy I worked with who made the instrument that found water in the moon, he started off is as a BSc in botany. He flunked high school. Like, I think he got 40% or something in 12th grade. He had no options. He took a drop year. He joined a botany BSc distance course, figured out he didn't like botany, switched to geology, started working a random job somewhere. And his university had a program that, oh, maybe ISRO is conducting some kind of workshop uh, for data analysts. And he went over there and he ended up doing really well there. And they said, hey, do you want to maybe do an internship with us? That's how he joined ISRO. That's how he joined the Physical Research Laboratory. Um, Kept working hard, met Carly Peters there. Carly Peters is the grandmother of planetary sciences. She's the one who originally started research into planetary surfaces outside our solar system. And yeah, he met her. They really connected. He started doing his PhD with her at Brown. And yeah, this is where he is now. So you always have time. If you think it's too late to achieve your dreams, it's really not. I know people who are doing their PhDs in neuroscience at the age of 65. And third is we come from a place of deep, deep privilege. Right now, you live in a bubble. You do not understand, even I don't understand the level of privilege everyone who is capable of attending the school has. Like, we live in a very sheltered environment, and uh, and we have luxuries that most people could not even dream of. And privilege is not a bad thing if you educate yourself about it and if you use it for good. Understand your position, educate yourself about it, and use it to help other people or even to help yourself in and impact your society. And the fourth one is downing off to your dreams are not too big. Be audacious. Try the new thing. If you always think that you're going to fail, you will never try anything new. Maybe the new thing that you're initially bad at is going to be is going to help you achieve your wildest dreams. So be audacious, have ostentatious dreams, and yeah, come out of your comfort zone a little. Yeah, that's pretty much it from my side.
Thank you, Shruti, for your insightful advice.
Finally, we have Muskan Kumar from the batch of 2017. Muskan graduated from the National Institute of Fashion Technology with a degree in knitwear design. She is now the co-founder and design head of Maisonor, a creative clothing brand that brings imagination to life. From sketching designs in college to running her own brand today, Muskan has turned her creativity into a career. She believes fashion is not just about clothes, but about expression and confidence, something she hopes to inspire in every student listening today. Muskan, you have the floor.
Hi, hey everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It is so great to be here today, reconnecting with Sun City School, my teachers, and with all of you sitting here. It just brings back so many memories. Well, let me begin by introducing myself. I am Muskan. I am 25 years old, not to mention an alumni of Sun City School. I graduated in 2017. I am the co founder and design head of my two separate companies. First is Maisonor, which is a clothing brand and studio based out of Gurgaon. And the other one is Designo, wherein I collaborate with other people to create fashion brands. So these are the people who have always wanted to get into the fashion entrepreneurship, but were looking for the right partner to begin their journey. But before we get into discussing what I do, I would like to tell you what led me here, my journey from the school hallways to fashion entrepreneurship. So I had always been a creative kid, drawing and painting throughout my school life. I was always mostly found in the Dipali ma'am's art room in school. But it was this one random day when I was in eighth grade. I had come home from school. It was an afternoon, a lazy afternoon, and I was just flipping through the television channels. And I landed on this broadcast of a fashion show, and bam, it was like a switch flipped, the screen exploded with colors, textures, silhouettes that I had never seen before, or maybe just did not pay attention to it before. The music was so loud, the energy was so crazy, and every garment looked like a piece of moving art. And in that very instant, it wasn't just a TV show for me, it was a vision. I remember thinking with absolute certainty that, wow, this is not just cool, but this is what I exactly want to do with my life. And that simple, very unexpected moment became the single starting point of my entire journey, which led me all the way to NIFT. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, this is about finding your path and sticking to it. To be very honest, I planned very early in my life. Like I just mentioned, it was eighth grade. I was, what, 12, 13 years old back then. Maybe it was just a random show that led me to thinking I want to do it. Maybe I did not actually want to do it. But I started doing some research, which is the the key important thing in planning early research. So I started looking up fashion courses online. What courses are offered in India? What courses are offered abroad? What is the difference between the curriculums that they offer? What kind of exposure I can get in India that I might get not that I might get abroad? I did that whole comparative analysis. And I decided I want to stay in India. I want to stay here. I want to learn the true cultural heritage of Indian fashion. Then I saw NIFT as the top college for fashion in India. Now I decided this is where I want to go. Now, here is where I want to share some inside information with you guys. A lot of colleges from various fields start their application processes very early. Like NIFT started in November. And most of the entrance exams happen before you even sit for your 12th grade board exams. I remember I had given my NIFT entrance exam on a Sunday, probably I think it was the 4th February. And on 5th February in school, I had my final board practical of psychology. So the pressure was intense, but this is how I managed it. I planned early. So my dad wanted me to pursue science and become an engineer. When I had to choose my stream for 11th and 12th. I attended science for a month because I was too scared to confront my dad and tell him I do not want to do science. But I had a clear goal in my mind, and I did not want to scramble through the 2 years of 11th and 12th. So I made a choice. I convinced my parents, I convinced my teachers, and I shifted to humanities, which allowed me to better manage my time and focus on my art and NIFT preparation. So I took a few subjects that I thought are going to help me, which included maths. And I know most of you might hate me, but I loved maths. It was my favorite subject. And maths is also a part of the NIFT entrance exam. I also took art again so that I can spend most of the time with the Pali ma'am. And yes, so starting 12th grade, I wanted to get a little deeper because I was sure that I want to get into NIFT, and if I don't get into NIFT, I will drop out. I will take a gap year. But my parents made it very clear that gap year is not an option for you. You will have to go to any other college, if not NIFT. So I joined Design Circle. It is a coaching center for fashion colleges based out of Delhi. So I took a course for 1 year with them, wherein every weekend, that is every Saturday and Sunday, for one entire year, I went to the classes where they refine my artistic skills and side by side teach me all the relevant course for the entrance exam. And they also helped me with my application process, which honestly, if not had been for Design Circle, I probably would have missed all the other colleges that I applied to because I was very focused on one college. So I was not exploring other opportunities. But they told me you need to open the horizon, you need to see what all is there. So I gave a lot of entrance exams to about 6 to 7 colleges. I got my first rejection from this college is D Parsons. It is based out of Bombay. And I got so disheartened. My NIFT exam was still pending, but that one rejection got me so disheartened. I thought I need to work twice as hard. And I got to it. I started doing it. So finally, when I gave NIFT, I cleared it in the first go. So my whole takeaway from this is that if you plan early and you execute it well, then there is no stopping. Your focused preparation is what is going to get you into your dream college. So knowing yourself is just half the battle, but early planning is the other half. Can we move to the next slide, please? Now, talking about beyond the books, your passion is your paycheck. Let's just fast forward to college. COVID had hit. Even in lockdown, I had come home. So when I was in college, I thought I was in Hyderabad, and I thought I do not want to come back home. It's so great staying away from family, being your own, being independent. So I will do a job somewhere in Bombay, in Mumbai or Bangalore. But then COVID hit. I had to come home. And I started getting bored after a month. So I remember in June 2020, I was just bored and I was like, let's just make something. So I started making some designs myself. I stitched them myself and I just put them on Instagram. I made a page for Mezzanor. I put it on Instagram and people loved it. And again, I had the fashion network back then. All my peers all my peers were there, so they supported me. That is how I started. We did not launch with a big store or a huge investment. We started very small. We built the brand during lockdown and let the customer feedback guide our growth into the studio that we have in Gurgaon today. You can start building your career or brand right now with what you have. You just need to have the dream. Now, I want to talk about something crucial. Earning money should not be your primary goal. I chose a path because I loved it. And when you genuinely love what you do, you bring dedication and the quality that people will pay for. And money automatically follows your passion and your dedication. And there's a key mistake that I want you to avoid: choosing a career path solely because it sounds secure or high paying without considering that if you actually like the day to day work is something you should completely avoid. If you do not love what you do, you will burn out and then the money won't matter at all. So choose your passion and then work to make it profitable. Can we go to the next slide? So the 72-hour grind. Now you get into your dream college, you worked very hard for it. It's all amazing. But let me tell you, it's very, very intense. I remember for 72 hours, I worked non-stop with no sleep because I had my jury. And back then, we hated our faculty. Honestly, they were brutally harsh. They would look at our work that we poured our heart and soul into with all the sleepless nights and sometimes just call it garbage to our faces. And we used to cry. We thought it was very, very cruel. But today, when I'm running Mezzanor, I understand why. Our faculty was conditioning us for the real world. A client does not care about my sleepless nights. A client doesn't care if I have eaten, if I had slept, if I'm taking care of myself. They care about the final product that they're paying for, right? So that resilience, that ability to hear the harsh criticism, take a deep breath, fix it. That is what will make you successful in life. Handling criticism is grace, is what retains the customers for me. So, see every harsh critique not as a personal attack, but as a free professional training, be it coming from your parents, your teachers, your peers. They are going to tell you only to make you better. Let's go to the next slide. So, now this is about protecting your core skill. As Mezzanor scaled, I encountered a major entrepreneurial challenge. I was getting consumed by logistics and admin and day to day operations and sourcing that I started moving away from my core strength that I wanted to go get into in the first place, which is design. I was so busy running the business, I was not designing anymore. So, this is when I needed a strategy to protect that core skill. Hence, I started Designo. Designo is a studio where I collaborate with new businesses to help them launch. So we do the full groundwork for them. We decide who is their niche, what the pricing should be, from where they can source, what are the collections that they should make, and we do their sampling as well as production. So now how this helps me, it helps me stay fully in the design lane, but it also gives me the exposure to every segment of the industry. Because I'm a 25-year-old, I did not do a job, I directly started a business. How am I going to get into the industry? How am I going to explore my horizons? This is where I do it at Designo. So I do menswear, kidswear, fast fashion, luxury clothing, slow fashion, women's wear, everything. So, starting the second segment was strategically to ensure that my skills stay sharp, I stay relevant in the fashion industry. And this was just a way to protect and monetize my talent, which I would love if you guys do that. Can we go to the next slide? So, it is your future, it is your design, it is how you design your future. This has been my story till now. It has been challenging, but it was a rewarding ride, and I would not trade it for anything. And you guys sitting here are the future, and you guys have so much potential. So, what I want to say is in my final message that do not let anyone else design the future for you. You have to be brave, be curious, and chase the work that lights you up inside. And focus on your passion, plan early, build resilience, and the success will follow you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that informative presentation.
Without further ado, we will now open the floor for questions from the audience. Anyone like to ask a question to the alumni?
How about we start off with a question? Shruti, if someone loves science but doesn't know where to begin, what small step would you suggest to them to truly figure out how to get into that field?
First, I think if they're interested, but they don't know where to begin or where to start, I think they should develop their interest. They should watch videos, figure out who is working in the fields that they want to work in. So, say I wanted to work in biotechnology. I would find out who is working in biotechnology right now. What did they do? How did they do it? How did they do it? How did they get there? What their journey was like. Listening to other people's journeys, looking at how they got to the places they got to be, I think that is the best way to select and figure out a roadmap for yourself. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it definitely did. Thank you, Shruti, for that answer. Next, I would like to ask a question to Hanya. What kind of mindset helps you stay confident while exploring new domains?
That's a very good question, actually. I think you having the drive to so obviously you ask confidence, right? So the thing is you have to understand your 20s are about exploring. You would, if you're sorted, if you know that like Muskan, she knew that she wanted to get into fashion. But there are people who, like me, did not know that, okay, is finance something that I would enjoy till my second or third year of college. Now, and data also. Now I'm in data, but eventually I feel like I would want to get into finance. But now, if I get into finance, is it really something that I would enjoy? So you have to really explore your different careers to really understand, is this something that is built for me? Is this something that I could succeed in? And as Rupa ma'am said, that in order to succeed in a field, you have to find happiness first. So I think when you change during your 20s, when you keep changing your careers and everything, you really try to find happiness in that particular career. So I think that is what would drive me, the happiness in the particular career. So yeah, I think that, does that answer your question, or is there anything I should add?
Thank you so much for that answer, Harmeher. Now we have a question from the audience.
I have a question for Harmeher about how did you get recruited? How did you get the internship at JP Morgan, and how did it help you get recruited?
Okay, I actually owe it all, mostly to Sun City, because So when you enter an engineering college, and I think Shruti can relate to this, but there are people who you have such a good school, you're really protected, and you're given a platform to really shine in Sun City. But when you come to an engineering college, there are people from all around, and they they don't have the same platform as you do. You will have people who are from a dummy school as well, who've done a dummy in 11th and 12th. So you have to really, so I joined this Center for Training and Development, which is there in Thapar, and it offers you training on interviews and your entrance tests for the companies and everything. So Sun City really helped me shine in those interviews because I knew what to speak, I knew how to put myself forward, and that is exactly what I did at JP Morgan's interview. I put myself forward, and as I said, that I went above and beyond my curriculum. I pursued a finance course. That is what I spoke about. I basically, you are your best advocate, and that is what Sun City taught me. So that is what I applied for the internship as well, and I was able to crack it.
Thanks, Anmer. I would request the students to please come in front of the camera so that we can also see and then ask the questions.
Hi, my question is for Muskan. What was your strategy for cracking NIFT and how was your experience at NIFT Hyderabad?
So, like I mentioned, I joined Design Circle. They helped me build a portfolio. They trained me for the various rounds that NIFT has. Your first is the entrance exam, which is a written exam wherein there is general knowledge, English, logical reasoning, and mathematics. Now, I think NIFT is the only college in India that takes mathematics in the entrance exam. Then this takes you to the second round. Now the second round is where you have to build something. So they will give you a lot of materials. They will give you cardboard, fevicol, cutter, scissor, paper, thermocol, everything, and they will give you a topic. So there were 3 topics and you can pick one and make something. So I had to design a bench for the elderly people in my entrance exam. So I made sure that maybe it can have a little bit of cushioning. It does not have to have a lot of gaps between the rails. And there can be a round thing where they can put their sticks in. So it's all about thinking and creatively of how you can solve a problem. Design is basically solving a problem. So you need to identify what problem is there and then you can solve it. And talking about my experience in NIFT, it was very intense, honestly. Uh, People are brutal, people are rude. There are no written exams once you get into NIFT. They take juries of all the subjects. So you just have to present the work that you did in the entire semester to your faculty, and they will just see how well you present it. Honestly, there were times job we had finished our work 2 days ago, but just the presenting part took us the sleepless nights. So it's intense, it's rigorous, but it's all worth it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Navalan Jyotish. I actually had a question for her. So you primarily hail from an engineering background. How you got into finance later in life? So
Sorry, you're not audible. Could you just, I think maybe step closer to the camera? Something I can't hear.
yeah, I'm audible now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Navalan Jyotish, and I actually had a question for you, Anna.
Yeah,
So
hi.
you primarily hail from like an engineering background, right? How you got into finance later. So I've noticed like there's a rising trend, Wall Street and other financial sectors where people are hiring from sectors other than pure finance. So were there other candidates that you had to beat for your internship and your position at JP Morgan and Chase for that were pure finance candidates? And as such, like, is this trend like reasonable, or is this still happening, or is this like purely like certain cases where it's taking place?
No, this is actually a really good question. And honestly, yes, it is. It is actually, it depends on firm to firm. So with JP Morgan, they don't really have a criteria that, okay, if you're from a pure finance background, you would be hired into investment banking. So a lot of actually, if you go for investment banking, like especially mergers and acquisitions in JP Morgan, a lot of them are from engineering background. So there is no such trend in this firm that if you're a finance pro, you would be, a finance background or finance pro, you would be hired for said investment banking or whatever. Um, there are firms like Crystal that only hire BCom honors for your they basically deal in they deal in analytics for, like they'll talk about your trade analytics in terms of how the trend is going and everything. They have a sub branch called Coalition. So yes, there are a lot of firms that do hire from pure finance or BCom or eco honors and everything. But as such, JP Morgan looks at your, obviously, so curiosity is one thing they really look at. How much have you gone out of your way to actually learn a particular skill, and how can you apply it? How have you applied it in the past? Which is why I stressed upon always pick up something during the summers so that you can talk about it in your interviews. You drive your own interview, you drive that conversation. So really talk about those projects during the summers. So there is actually, as such, there is no such trend, but yes, the job market is a little bit, but we see it improving as well. Like, like a lot of engineering grads were hired in JP Morgan, in Deutsche Bank, in Bank of America, a lot of engineering graduates. So like these banks are actually kind of shifting towards engineering grads as well, because they understand that, okay, like now they really understand the importance of kind of, data and finance. Like fintech is something that is really coming up, and banks are really kind of working towards, upscaling this. So yeah, I mean, I think one advice from my, because of this question was asked, one advice from my end would be that if you can pick up an AI course, it would be really, really helpful and would kind of set you apart. And, there's prompt engineering as well or something like that. So just a short course, maybe a month or two, would really help you set apart and, actually hold you high in the interviews. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Srijan Seshadri, and I had a question for Shruti. As a PhD candidate yourself, I'm going to ask what are the sort of characteristics that someone should have while trying to do research? And I also wanted to ask, in general, how do you start building things? Sort of, how do you connect those dots? How do you get the inspiration?
Okay. So I'll start with the characteristics one should have to pursue research. The first is that you should be willing to work endlessly with no end in sight, with no fear of failure. So I think especially Muskan would be able to relate to this part. I think if you're really trying to, find something that works, if you're trying to make something that works, there's a long process that goes into it. There's a lot of failure, there's a lot of trial and error. You have to consult with hundreds of people. Sometimes you have to scrap completely built things. You need to have a resilience and an assurance within you that, okay, this will work out. Or if it doesn't, I can move on to a different problem or solve this problem in a different way. This a continued optimism is the most important part of being a researcher or any kind of person who builds any kind of product. Uh, Also, you need to be a little bit of an extrovert. You need not uh, completely, the completely fine if you're not, but you need to be willing to reach out to people, to collaborate with people. Hundreds of people have hundreds of different ideas. Yours may not be the correct one. You need to talk to people who are coming from different contexts, different walks of life. Maybe they might have an idea that you would never have arrived at. So that's that's the thing you need to have to be a researcher. There's nothing else, honestly. Just resilience and a real love for the subject you're working in. And what was the second part again?
Yeah, so the second part was sort of in general, how do you start like building things? How do you get the inspiration? And how do you sort of connect the dots between like, all of the sort of stuff that you're doing too?
Okay, so to build things, first of all, you need to have an idea of what exactly you're trying to build. You need an end goal in sight, and that usually comes either it might be assigned to you, or if you're a researcher, it just strikes you randomly. Okay, so you're studying something, you're looking through something, and you see a gap there, that, oh, this there's a missing piece here. Maybe someone should fill that. That's called a knowledge gap. Or if it's not a knowledge gap, maybe you yourself have an idea, ki, oh, this problem, we could solve it. So the first part is identifying a problem that you want to solve. The second part is seeing if anyone has done anything in the vicinity of this problem. So imagine there's a knowledge gap here. Have people worked in these areas? Or have people worked across this knowledge gap in some other field? So, say I work in space science, and some of the work I did was on modeling impact crater flows. So maybe someone has not modeled that, but very interestingly, the inspiration I got for the actual end model I built was from toothpaste manufacturers, about how toothpaste flows through the tube. That's the exact way lava flows through an impact crater. So you need to look through your knowledge gap, see above it, beyond it, around it. Has anyone done work regarding it? No piece of information is too small. And from then you identify a problem. Then you make then you do a little bit of a literature review. After this literature review, you build a process for yourself, a path for yourself, that, okay, this is how I'm going to proceed through this. Once you proceed through that, you do a lot of checks and balances at each step. If all of it works out, you have your final product or your final research output. If it doesn't, you go back to step one. Maybe you have to redefine the problem, maybe you have to redefine your knowledge base, and maybe you have to redefine your path. But yeah, it is a long
Already
process,
know when
but
to
it's
start off.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Ajay.
Okay.
I believe that covers most of the questions we have, and that will bring us to the end of this meet. I would like to thank Muskan, Shruti, and Harmeher for making time for us and giving us the much needed advice that we usually need from our alumni. We truly appreciate Univariety for making this meet possible in the first place, and we express our gratitude towards our school for arranging this. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much to all the speakers, Harmesh, Shruti, and Muskan, and also Abhinav and Roha for moderating this event. I can see Soma ma'am also coordinating in the background with students and others. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your help throughout the session. And yes, alumni, do you want to share something? Harmesh, you were saying something.
I was just thanking, and also if any student ever wants to reach out, Les LinkedIn, please feel free to text. I'm always there. I'm your senior. Don't feel shy. Always there.
Yes, thank you so much.
I want to add the same thing that Hermel said. Please reach out. We're always here for you. We've been through the same things you are going to right now. We would love to help.
Students, you now also have the access to the dashboard where we have a strong 300 plus, 500 plus alumni community of Sun City School, where you get to where you get the chance to connect with Harmeer, Muskan, Shruti, and other alumni as well from different backgrounds. So you can connect with them. There are multiple filters available for you to select the alumni. So I would request you to please create your profiles. I think that is already created. I'll soon share the sign up link and other details for your coordinators, and you can then connect with them today itself, maybe because it's a fresh memory. The alumni have just come up and share their journeys, which is truly inspiring, seeing everyone's journey. And then you can also connect with others as well. Thank you so much for your time, to all the speakers, and agreeing to do this.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much
for
for
having us.
us here.
Thank you.